And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at the game Oddball Aeronauts. This was a successful Kickstarter, very successful Kickstarter, and the whole shtick of this game was the fact that you can play it anytime, anywhere. I can carry my deck of cards around and do something. It has a unique animals come to life and act as humans universe, and so let's take a look and see how it plays. The game is very small. The game comes with some extra cards that you can use, but you actually comes with two starter decks that will be playing against each other. You have the Dragoneer deck and the Dragon's Revenge deck against the Hunter Seeker deck. And both these decks, if you look here, the artwork on these cards is absolutely stunning and fantastic. Some of the best artwork that I've ever seen in games. This is amazing stuff. I really enjoy it. Now, each of these cards has a lot of different numbers on it. So let's take a closer look at these numbers because they matter. All right, at the very top of the card, you have the skills. There's 3 skills there. You have sailing, guns, and boarding. Sailing, guns, and boarding. Each of these cards has a main number, and they also have a bonus. Then here is a special ability. In this game, it's called a trick. It shows you what group this is with, and up here again as the trick, it kind of lets your opponent see it or gives you some reminder of what the trick might do. Now, what players are doing here in this game is this is a game that's meant to be played, in essence, anywhere. So I can take this deck and hold it in my hand the whole time. I'm going to start with 3 cards face down. These cards are essentially my discard pile, and as I discard cards, they'll go to the bottom of the pile. Now, in each round of the game, I'm only going to be looking at the top 3 cards of my deck. I mean, I can look at all of them, but only the top 3 matter. And at the same time, me and my opponent are going to stick out fingers to say whether we're doing 1, 2, or 3 cards. Now, the card that you're playing is going to be your top card. This is the card that if you use the special ability, you cannot use the only special ability of your top card. So let's say I'm going to use 2 cards. Then in turn order, we're going to say which one we're using. If I use sailing, this card here has a number 5 for sailing. And if I use 2 cards, we get a +2 bonus from the second card, so it'd be 7. If I was using guns, it'd be 5 + 3, 8. And if I was using boarding, it'd be 5 + 4, 9. Now the bonus isn't always the same. You can see, for example, if they were like this, my numbers would be 6, 7, and 7. So I can pick which one I'm going to use. First, we in the number of cards, and then what trick. We reveal them, we announce that. We also announce anything else special here. For example, if this had been my trick card, this is +2 boarding against 1 or 2 cards. If my opponent only used 1 or 2 cards, I would get a +2 boarding. Here, this one would just cancel my opponent's trick. Here, I can choose the win effect. And that matters, because if it's a tie, no big deal. But if you win, depending on which trick you won with, depends on what happens. If you win, for example, with the guns, then your opponent is going to discard 2 cards. If you win with the sailing, you will recover 2 cards. And if you win with boarding, you will make the opponent discard a card and you'll recover a card. Either way, all the cards, let's say I played all 3 of them, will be discarded, put on the bottom of the deck, and I'll draw some more. And that will keep going until one person is forced to lose all their cards. That person loses the game. There are event cards. Each player will start with 2 event cards, so when an event card shows up, these will test things. Maybe the highest gunning opponent can play 2 cards maximum. Or maybe here the highest sailing that gets to recover 1 card. So these events bring some randomness. And then if that's not enough for you, you will also have the ability to go in and replace different cards in your deck with different cards, basically building a custom deck. Look at that Darkmaker, isn't he cool? And the Marksman. So, like I said, a lot of cool artwork in this game. The best quality of this game is obviously the artwork, which I've mentioned several times already, and the universe. I would love to see a game, more games centered on this universe. Then coming back to the game itself, though, okay? Because I'm not going to complain about the game. Even the layout of the cards is quite easy to understand. I would have actually done different colors for the different 3 sections, but what have you. The idea of holding the game in your hand. You can play this game in line while you're waiting for something. You can play it on an airplane. You can play it anywhere. That's the whole shtick of the game. And in that regard, it does work. You can indeed do this anywhere. It is easy. You can call out things, hold out fingers and such. The thing is, I cannot, after multiple times of playing this, I went online and read other reviews of this just because I couldn't figure out what I was missing. I cannot shake the feeling that this is just a advanced, more complicated version of Top Trumps, where you flip a card over and see who wins, which in itself is just an advanced version of War. You say, Vasel, this is not War. Look at all these numbers. You can pick which one you're going to do. You might play 1 or 2 cards or 3 cards. You don't know what the special abilities are. I agree. But the thing is all that is really just complications because I have no earthly idea what my opponent may or may not play. They may have a card in their deck. Each person can add 1 mercenary card to their deck. And this mercenary is rocking. And they might be able to throw that out and win, even if I use all 3 of my cards. They might have something that does negative things if I do sailing, and that's the thing I picked this time. It really is, I can't even outguess my opponent. I guess my only outguessing my opponent is he going to send a small force, knowing I'm going to win, and hoping I discard 3 cards? Or is he going to just come at me full bear? But I just couldn't get over the fact that what my opponent did, I could never read them, could never figure them out, and they could never read me and never figure out. So, yeah, this stuff is cool and all, but adding these numbers, looking at the trick, figuring out 1, 2, or 3 cards, rock, paper, scissors accomplishes the same thing and does it in a lot faster way. A lot of cool things doesn't actually make a good game. And I think that's where we're at here. We have some good ideas. 3 stats per card. Some cards add cool bonuses. Moving the cards around in your hand. Having special abilities. This is all cool ideas. And this could be part of a good game. But in and of itself, if you stop and you wash away the theme a little bit and look at it, it's just glorified paper, rock, scissors. And even then, not that good because you really don't know what your opponent's going to do at all. Well, I guess you don't in paper, rock, scissors either. So I love the artwork, love the idea. I don't think if you get it, you're going to hate playing it. I think that is people are going to have fun with it. But every time I do it, I'm like, oh, okay, you won. Congratulations. But I don't feel like they beat me. If I win, hooray! But I don't feel like I've really won. I just feel like the cards came up in the right order. And the different winning conditions where I either make you discard 2 cards or I recover 2 cards or 1 and 1 is essentially game-wise, it all comes down to the same thing. So, I don't know. I'm not really going to recommend this one, guys. I mean, unless you want the cool artwork or you are looking for a game to play online. Okay, there isn't many of those, so this fits in that category, and that's fine. But it just feels like it needs more before this becomes something truly cool.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.